are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you all are doing well. It is late where I am at, but I am glad to be up and being able to bring some content to you all. Today, we're going to jump into quite a few things, and so I'm looking forward to the time. Hope that you all are doing well because, I think the markets for these commodities are going to go a lot higher. So, and as you can see in the title, you see that Michael Burry buys oil. So if you're not sure who Michael Burry is, he is famously portrayed in the movie The Big Short by Christian Bale, and he is the one of the pioneers of investors who pretty much said that, hey, we're going to short the housing market, we're going to bet against the government. And that turned out to be a very profitable trade, even though he got in early and he received a lot of hate and a lot of backlash before it actually played out. So he came out and invested billions of dollars in oil, and so we're going to look into that, as well as look into Microsoft and Amazon. This news actually went under my nose. I did not even hear about it until I watched a recent interview with Luke Gromen, and he shared about it. And even the guest who was interviewing Luke Gromen didn't know about it either. So I decided to go back and look it up. And so Amazon and Microsoft are investing in nuclear energy. And so as we see that this big AI transition is happening, these AI companies have to run servers. They have to run machines that are very energy intensive. And so, and then that is also contrary with a lot of the contradicts the climate goals that many of these organizations have and that they are supporting. And so they have to find a clean source of base load power, and they are going to invest in nuclear. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I appreciate you all. Be sure to drop a comment if you are here as we jump into the articles. So let me go ahead and jump over here and share screen. All right, so the first article we're going to jump into here is with Michael Burry. So as you can see, this happened on May 18th. So this article just recently came out on the Motley Fool. It says Cyan Asset Management announced $6.5 billion stake in BP this week. That is British Petroleum. But what could Michael Burry be seeing in an underperforming FTSE 100 oil company? So over the last 5 years, the FTSE 100 is up 15% compared to 85% for the S&P 500. Despite this, several top hedge funds own UK stocks and have been buying them recently. One of the most prominent examples is run by Michael Burry. During the first 3 months of 2024, Cyan Asset Management bought 175,000 shares in BP. Michael Burry is best known for shorting the housing market in between 2007 and 2008. And we shared about that, right? A more recent example was Geo Group. Burry bet on the stock after Biden administration elected not to renew the government's contracts with the U.S. prison operator. But if the state wasn't going to pay companies to run its prisons, it would have to buy them itself, and they are worth a lot more than Geo Group held them on its balance sheet for. Burry saw to likely sell the assets for more than the company's market share value, creating an opportunity. So Cyan was able to take advantage of the hugely undervalued stock. I don't know. I remember seeing Michael Burry actually going to invest in Geo Group. Actually had a few friends that worked for Geo Group, and they did work with illegal immigrants who would get detained and such. And so I remember that news came out, but I didn't really see how it performed or whatnot. So let's just go pop over and just look at the chart real quick. I just want to see, I know this is kind of deviating from what we're talking about, but I just want to see it really quick just to see how it played out. So I remember when this company was being Let's go to the chart here. Boom. All right, showing a daily chart. All right, so it's actually up over the last 2 years. I don't know exactly when he invested in it, but I mean, as you can see, I mean, it was at $7, $6, popped up to about 16. Now it's at 13. It was a lot higher than this over the last few years, I believe. Yeah, Geo Group was way up here. I remember seeing it on the stock exchange. I didn't know what it exactly it was about. But this was at $34 a share. So yeah, I mean, I assume depending on when they bought it, I don't know when they bought it. Sometimes these funds buy these stocks when they're a lot higher. I mean, in the case of BP, let's look at BP, right? BP. All right, British Petroleum. Look at the chart here. Let's go ahead and go. Let's go to the 5-year. So BP is currently trading at $37.49. As we can see, pre-pandemic, it was trading around over $45. Move this out the way. Sorry, you all. I'm just trying to work with this chart here. It was over $47 pre-pandemic. It went as low as, I mean, I think down here it was like around $7. So, I mean, down here, so it went really low. Well, actually, it went to $14. So it went really low after the pandemic, and then now it's rebounded back to 37. And so I say that because sometimes these funds, they don't necessarily buy the bottom. So just because someone has a lot of money, that doesn't mean they're buying the bottom, right? However, that also means that this could go a lot higher. If you look at Michael Burry's track record and everything. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the article, but just wanted to look at that really quick. So with BP, the opportunity isn't as obvious, but there are a few things worth noting about the company and Burry's investment. The first is the firm has had recent change of direction. Until recently, BP has had a heavier focus on renewable energy generation than the other oil majors. So they're saying that BP is more focused on renewable energy. This has been largely unsuccessful and led to significant impairments over the last year. Yeah, we know about that. The company's new CEO, however, announced a shift in direction from investments in renewables to shareholder returns. This is likely to mean increased dividends and buybacks. Without losses from renewable energy, earnings could come in higher in 2024 at a price to earnings ratio of 11. The stock already looks cheap relative to other oil majors. In terms of renewables, the opportunity Burry is seeing might not be specific to BP. Sign also bought shares of Vital Energy and First Solar, both of which are involved in renewable energy generation. All right, so he bought Vital Energy. So this is pretty interesting because let's go ahead and look at Vital Energy really quick. So I don't know if you all remember when I had Josh Young on the channel, and Josh Young did speak about Vital Energy. Vital Energy is a small cap oil producer. I think it's a producer, but yeah, as you can see, I mean, it just rips. It rips really high when the price of oil goes up. So I mean, it ripped up to $120, and then now it's at $49. So and it was at $120 back in June of 2022. So I mean, as you can see, this stock can rip, and so it looks like Michael Burry bought Vital Energy as well, which is pretty interesting. So yeah. And First Solar, both for which involved in renewable energy generation. While BP has been scaling back its investment, it hasn't quit the sector entirely. The company looks set to take over the EV charging sites Tesla is abandoning. Okay. In general, Scion hasn't been in the business of making long-term investments. Burry has typically preferred short-term mispricings that have the potential for quick returns. It's therefore possible there's something on the horizon that renewable energy companies like BP could benefit from. The question, though, is what exactly this might be. All right. So obviously, they don't know why he's investing in this, but we see that Michael Burry is buying oil. All right. So we're going to jump over to this next. We're going to jump over to another article. All right. So I have three different articles on this. Let's start with the Wall Street Journal. So the Wall Street Journal says Microsoft targets nuclear to power AI operations. The tech company aims to expedite the nuclear regulatory process using AI. Okay, so this actually came out in December. So it's about 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Microsoft is betting nuclear power can help sate its massive electricity needs as it ventures further into artificial intelligence and supercomputing. So now, as you can see, like many people have been talking about, hey, this AI and these supercomputers, they need servers, they need energy to be able to function properly and to be able to function. And so we see that Microsoft is aware of that. The technology industry's thirst for power is enormous. A single new data center can use as much electricity as hundreds of thousands of homes. Wow. A single new data center can use as much electricity as hundreds of thousands of homes. AI requires even more computing power. Nuclear power is carbon free and, unlike renewables, provides round the clock electricity, but it faces significant hurdles to getting built, including the daunting and expensive U.S. nuclear regulatory process for project developers. In a twist, Microsoft is experimenting with generative artificial intelligence to see if AI can help streamline the approval process, according to Microsoft executives. Okay. Generative AI experiments tap into Microsoft's investment in OpenAI's ChatGPT. For the past 6 months, a team of Microsoft employees have been training a large language model with U.S. nuclear regulatory and licensing documents, hoping to expedite the paperwork required for such approvals, which can take years and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Power demand is growing globally at the same time as a range of industries is trying to shift away from fossil fuels. So they're saying power demand is growing globally while industries are trying to shift away from fossil fuels. It's like, okay, well, if you're trying to shift away from fossil fuels, what are you going to replace them with? Because the renewables are not getting the job done. So we see that nuclear is the answer. If we're going to do that carbon free, we're going to need all the tools in the toolkit. Nuclear power is broadly seeing a surge of popular interest, including at COP28, the United Nations annual climate conference in Dubai, where the U.S. was among the group of countries pledging to triple global nuclear power generation by 2050. So we see like there's a lot of the sentiment around nuclear has just changed significantly. It has changed significantly. The reality for nuclear power is that output continues to slide globally as plant closures outpace openings. And no Western country has started construction of newly designed smaller modular reactors, or SMRs, which many consider the future of the industry. Generation dropped 4% last year, and nuclear share of the global electricity market is at the lowest point in 4 decades, around 9.2%, according to the latest World Nuclear Industry status report. In the U.S., nuclear power in the past decade has had a hard time competing against cheaper options. The cost of building renewable energy projects has fallen, and the shale boom dropped fuel costs for natural gas-fired power plants. Let's see. It says while solar and wind deals remain the primary way for companies to buy clean energy, they can't provide round the clock power. We know that because they're dependent on weather and sunlight and wind. More companies want to add other kinds of clean generation on local or regional grids that can provide steady power. Google executives said that they would consider signing a power purchase agreement traditionally used to help finance new wind and solar projects with the developer of a SMR. So Google is even chiming into this nuclear. Some cryptocurrency miners too say they want to be among the first customers of SMRs to power their data campuses. Microsoft founder Bill Gates is among several tech investors backing SMR developers. Okay, so we see Bill Gates and other tech investors are backing the development of nuclear energy. Microsoft posted a job opening this fall for a nuclear power expert to help it integrate SMRs into its electricity planning. It is also buying power from existing nuclear plants. This is very interesting, very interesting. So Washington, I live in Washington State, so Microsoft is housed up here in Washington State. So this is pretty fascinating. Constellation Energy, the largest owner of nuclear plants, in June agreed to sell nuclear power to Microsoft for a data center in Virginia. When wind and solar aren't available, it gives Microsoft price uncertainty and power generation available second to second. Okay. So we see that ultimately Microsoft is investing in nuclear energy. This is exciting. Let's see. And so they're talking about the SMR developers down here. In the US, so far, just one SMR developer, NuScale Power, has had its design approved by Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The process cost NuScale around $500 million, and its 12,000-page application had around 2 million pages of support material. Wow. That is a lot. That is a lot. So that is a hurdle for companies to get over. And so, now that you have a lot of money coming in, you may get some pressure from these politicians because you got these lobbyist groups and everything that may put pressure on these politicians like, hey, you guys got to speed up this process, make this more efficient. 500 million. Wow. Plans for NuScale's first commercial project collapsed last month when a group of utilities in the Mountain West couldn't get enough members to sign up. The NRC, which is the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, has a strategic plan for AI, including ongoing efforts to better understand how AI is being considered for use domestically and overseas. Okay, so they're planning to host. Microsoft is working to test speeds using AI with Terra Praxis, a nonprofit that promotes the reuse of old coal plants as potential sites for new, smaller scale reactors. So we see that there's just a lot of energy and excitement around this. But it's also some hurdles that people got to jump through. So, I think we're still early, right? I think we're still early in this because all these hurdles and this money got to come from somewhere. And so, obviously Microsoft have the 500 million if they want to invest in that, but that's a lot of money just to get approved for one small modular reactor. Well, I guess that was a model that NuScale was producing. So AI is going to use a lot of energy, going to be heavily energy intensive. So now I want to jump to all right, so this is pretty much the same information. It talks about Google and Microsoft teaming up with Nucor. And it's talking about the small modular reactors and such. And so, we pretty much read through this. This is just another article supporting that. All the article links, I think I put them in the chat. No, not the chat, the description, but I may have forgotten. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to Amazon. They bought a nuclear powered data center from Talon. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a quick break, real quick in the action, just so I can catch my breath, and I'll be right back. Timeout. Quick break in the action. This message is brought to you by the Rule Symposium. This annual symposium is hosted by the legendary investor Rick Rule himself. It will take place from July 7th through 11th in Boca Raton, Florida. Mr. Rule invites some of the most brilliant minds in macroeconomics and natural resource investing. This year, featured speakers include Danielle DiMartino Booth, Nomi Prinz, Jim Rickards, Grant Williams, Lobo Tigre, and more. Rick even organizes the Living Legends panel where he invites individuals who have built billion-dollar businesses from scratch. Attendees will be introduced to a myriad of companies active in the natural resources space, with the companies invited being the ones that Rick Rule invests in himself. The symposium is held at the Boca Raton, which is an amazing resort with exceptional amenities. I attended in 2023 and thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I went on an amazing cruise with Rick and other investors and CEOs of companies, and even had the opportunity to test drive an Aston Martin for the first time. So don't miss out on this opportunity to have fun and receive high quality education to help secure your financial future. Click the link below to sign up, and I promise you won't regret it. But if you do, Rick offers an amazing money back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below to sign up today. Now, without further ado, let's get back to the content. All right, we're back. I had to catch my breath real quick, and I was eating some sunflower seeds. I don't want to be crunching in y'all ear, even though y'all know how I get down. So yeah, Amazon buys nuclear powered data center from Talon. This was on March 2024. If you're watching right now, how many of y'all knew about this? Did any of y'all know about Amazon, Microsoft, and Google investing in nuclear energy? Because I sure didn't know about it. Drop in the comments if you in the chat if you know about this. So let's see, Talent Energy. Okay, they announced their sale of 960 megawatt data center campus to cloud service provider Amazon Web Services for $650 million. Dang. The data center sits on 1,200-acre campus in Pennsylvania and is directly powered by adjacent, however you say that, and which generates 2.5 gigawatts of power. We believe this is a transformative transaction with long-term benefits. Talent said data centers at the heart of that growth. Several years ago, Amazon set an ambitious goal to reach net zero carbon by 2040, 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement. So Amazon came out and said they want to reach net zero carbon by 2040. So they have to have the base load power. And so they bought this nuclear power plant, or this nuclear, what is it called? Nuclear power data center. So let's see, as part of that goal, we're on a path to power our operations with 100% renewable energy by 2025, 5 years ahead of our original 2030 target. An Amazon spokesperson said, supplement our wind and solar projects, which depend on weather conditions to generate energy. We said that earlier. We're also exploring new innovations and technology and investing in other sources of clean, carbon-free energy. This agreement with Talent Energy for carbon-free energy is one project in that effort. Okay, so Talon's a Houston, Texas-based company. They own the 6th largest nuclear plant in the United States and produces 63 million kilowatts hours per day. Its 2 General Electric boiling water reactors have been online since 1983 and are licensed to operate through 2042 and $1.44 respectively. They did file for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May of 2011 as part of financial restructuring. The company exited bankruptcy in 2023, and officials have said that this recent transaction with Amazon Web Services is a boost to its cash flow after paying off debts, interest, and other costs. Talent expects to net proceeds of $361 million from the deal with Amazon. All right, so we see Amazon is in nuclear energy as well. So that's it. I mean, I just think that it sounds more bullish. Oh, you talking about Michael Burry? Yeah, I believe he buys gold too. I mean, at least that's what it said at the end of the Big Short. He buys gold and water. I think he invests in gold and water. Which I had us talk with Rick about water, and we always talk about gold, but yeah. So I think he invests in gold too. I mean, we might just go ahead. Let's see if we can find their filings. Scion Investment Holdings. Let's go look at it. All right. So, this is interesting. All right, let's go ahead and jump over here. He said a Sprott position in gold. So he bought the Fizz. Actually, I need to see where Fizz is at. I haven't seen Fizz in a while. I bought a few miners, but I haven't seen Fizz in a while, which Fizz is tied to the actual price of gold. So I'm sure Fizz is doing pretty nice compared to, yeah, Fizz is up. Yeah, Fizz is up compared to the gold miners. Yeah, it's tracking that physical. All right, let me go ahead and share screen real quick. Boom. So yeah, you said he was investing in Fizz. This is where Fizz is at. Fizz, you see this huge gap up. I mean, just from March to now. I mean, yeah. So Fizz has been, I remember when it was down here, and then it's just been popping up. And this is better than a lot of the gold miners. I mean, you do have the silver miners popping up too. I mean, First Majestic is looking nice as well. I was gonna watch this video from they bottom and pop back up. So hopefully we see this numbers right here. Back up to about $23. That's where I wanted to get to. So yeah, so I think that not that I think that what was I about to say? I forgot. All right, y'all, it's getting late. All right, so let's look at it. Let's look it up. All right, so Scion Asset Management, run by Dr. Michael Burry. Let's see what they got. All right, here we go. The top buys: Sprott Physical Gold. So we see that is there. He bought gold. You see that. Let's see. Neophyte said, "What do you think is pushing the silver price up? Will it last?" I think it's gonna last. I mean, honestly, I think it's just the fundamentals. I mean, gold's been going up. Silver usually goes up with a lag, and yeah, I just think that it's just the fundamentals. And silver, I mean, we haven't seen silver above 30 in a while, and so it closed above 30. So I mean, it's definitely in the breakout. And I think, with central banks buying gold, the price of gold continuously going higher, people in the East buying gold, the demand for gold. I mean, they see that the people are seeing the deficits and everything. So, I mean, I think silver has a play on that too. And, silver is obviously cheaper than gold. So yeah, that's what I think it is. I think it's the fundamentals. supply and demand, as well as just what's happening in the macro and geopolitical space. So let's see. So he bought Sprott, Cigna. I think Cigna is a healthcare company. BP, British Petroleum, First Solar. Then he has Baidu. So he has quite a few um, China stocks, in which I've been telling you all about China, right? So China, he has Baidu, JD, and he has Alibaba. So he's bullish on Chinese equities. Let's see. So they bought another, what is it, 160,000 shares of JD, 50,000 shares of Baba. Fizz, they bought another 440,000 shares. They bought 40,000 shares of Square. BP, we see 175,000 shares. Vital Energy. I mean, real, what is this? Retail General, real. Okay. Online marketplace for luxury goods in the United States. Kids' jewelry and watches. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what the price is. The price of that may be super low. Let's see. Yeah, real's at $1.90. Was at $1.90. That's their average price. So no wonder why they bought 57,000 shares of it. Let's see. You got Baidu, about 40,000 shares. That Baidu's still pretty cheap. I may even buy. I've been thinking about buying some more Baidu, especially. They got Google, Amazon, a few others. So yeah. Oh, they sold all these shares. They got out of there. Oh no, so they got out of Google. They sold all of Google. Sold all 35,000. Sold all Amazon. So yeah, so he sold Amazon, Google, Booking, and a few others, and he bought China. Bought more China. He bought more gold. Bought Square, oil, and a few others. So yeah, I mean, this seems pretty interesting. He sold off a bunch too that didn't do much. Followed him on a QRT position, did nothing, got out, making $50 only because I went from 700 driving my price down. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with these funds. They got so much money that they can invest in multiple positions, and just because something has good value or has a low PE ratio, whatever, doesn't mean it's going to move. And then they can also swallow the loss because it's pretty much a numbers and percentage game where, hey, if 75% of our investments are working out, we could take the loss on the 25%. So we know that Warren Buffett takes some losses too, but he overall he does fairly well. So yeah, it's kind of rough, especially when you're just picking one out of that bunch. For me, if looking at this, I'm looking at Fizz. So obviously, they're buying this to get a play on physical gold. So that says something, right? And it's like, okay, well, I didn't have other macro knowledge in terms of why gold is going higher. So that's something that I would feel comfortable investing in. Same thing with JD, Baba, and Baidu. I haven't technically been buying specific China equities, um, which I'll show you why. So I was buying JD. Actually, let me go to Yahoo so I can go to the chart. All right, so I was buying JD, which I'm mad I sold it, y'all. JD's at $35 a share right now, right? I was buying JD. Well, first of all, when I remember when I was buying it in 2020, when it just popped up here just significantly, and this obviously sold off significantly, and it's still fairly cheap at 35, but it hit 21 back in $21 back in March, and I was buying. I just didn't have like a full conviction on China at that time, so I ended up selling, and then sure enough, popped up to 35. However, I did was I diversified the risk by buying the MCHI China ETF instead. Now, this obviously isn't going to run as much as JD, um, but it's less riskier. I could feel more comfortable and get some gains. Now they did hit $97. That was the high back in 2021. They did hit $97 and they sold off significantly, getting as low as 35. And I started buying around 38 over here, and now it's at 47. So I have a few shares of them, but I also have some call options on them, some long-term call options for about $65 a share at for 2026. So I'm up on that so far, and I think that it can probably hit that, especially where I think China coming out of their hardships and focusing on their stock market and their real estate market. So that's how I'm playing China right now. I do have a couple call options on KWeb, which is China Internet ETF. When you look at KWeb, I mean they ran significantly. Let's see. If said Burry's a value investor, he holds long term. Seems to be throwing darts at the board. Held off buying anything he's doing. Yeah, I mean he's doing China, but also like Lynn Alden's buying China. Who was it? Who's it? Stan Druckenmiller. I think he may have sold China to buy some gold or something like that. But there's multiple people that I've been watching. They're looking at China. So even though Burry, it may seem like he's throwing darts at the board, there's been some other people that I watched that are confirming it as well. So that's why I'm bullish. And then also just looking at the charts, China's been depressed for the last 3 years. I mean, and I talked to Jim Rogers about it, right? China's been depressed for the last 3 years. They ran up first during COVID. I mean, you could just see it at the chart. Every Chinese stock just got pummeled. What's up, the Cap? Good to see you. Good to see you. So every Chinese stock got pummeled, right? I mean, we saw the chart with JD. You see it with KWeb. We saw MCHI, right? I mean, KWeb hit $104 a share, almost $105 back in 2021. They all sold off in 2021. They all sold off significantly, and they've been just depressed ever since, just chopping sideways ever since. So now we're starting to get like a little breakout. So I knew that this wasn't going to last forever, but I mean, there was a lot of falling knives here. I mean, especially Alibaba. I remember when Gareth Soloway was talking about Alibaba, and there were some investors that I had on my channel in the comments who were buying Baba at over $100 because it still was cheap. It was still pretty cheap, and the knife just kept falling. the knife just kept falling. Bible got as low as 59. Now it's at 88. So, I mean, it's been depressed for a while. So all of these Chinese companies have been depressed. So at some point, they're going to have to turn around, right? And we can see that China started opening back up, started relieving their COVID-19 restrictions and everything. So, these are, I think these can do well. So I'm mad I didn't get Baidu back over here in $78, but it's at 110. And the high for this was 350. And I mean, even pre-COVID, I mean, 282, right? So, I mean, one thing about Baidu as well is that Elon Musk recently did a deal with them for Tesla. So that's something to look out for too. So let's see, Elon Musk. Let's see, Baidu, Tesla. Okay, so this was, yeah, I'm going to share this. So Elon Musk had went to China, and there was this, he had a meeting with Baidu, I believe. So Baidu considers using Tesla's robotaxi tech in China. Now, obviously, with the tariffs and all this stuff, who knows how this is going to play out. But as you can see, Elon Musk was making moves with this Chinese company, and they may be partnering with Tesla. So those are some things to look out for. Those are some things to look out for sure. You said looking like Rivian. Yeah, Rivian. Yeah, I've been seeing their trucks around too. It's been yeah, I've been seeing their trucks around, but yeah, Rivian, yeah, they freaking pummel. It was that Rivian and Nikola. I remember Nikola too. Yeah, I remember that, right? So yeah, but Rivian, I mean, that was a brand new company. So these Chinese equities been around for a while. I mean, JD's like the Amazon of China. JD and Alibaba. Let's see. The cap said was looking at Gangfang Lithium Group back in 2019. Never pulled the trigger. Could have made profit from it. Yeah. So that's is that a let's see, Gangfang Lithium. All right. So this is a Chinese lithium company. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can find them. Are they on the Shanghai Exchange or something? Yeah, I don't know. I can't find them on here. Yeah, so they're down on China Exchange. Yeah, for some reason I can't find them. But yeah, y'all, Burry's buying oil. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are investing in nuclear energy, and I mean China's looking pretty attractive. So this is a financial advice, but you all know what to do. Do your due diligence, and determine if that's the right investment for you. All right, y'all. I'm gotta get going. I gotta get some rest. Actually, I gotta work on some other business stuff, and then I'm gonna get some rest. But y'all stay blessed and peace. All right. Talk to y'all soon.